Do you ever feel when you ask questions to your prospect, they give you vague answers or they give you surface level answers? No matter how good questions you're asking, no matter what you do, but they just don't give you what you are looking for. You are following a proven scripts. You have went on multiple YouTube videos, gotten the best scripts, best objection handlers, or your team is following the proven scripts, but nothing is working out. You are just not able to close the clients. There's a reason that is happening with you is because it's not what you speak inside the sales call. It is not what kind of script you follow inside the sales call. It's not about what question you ask inside the sales call. It's how you ask those question matters. If you're asking those questions in the wrong way, the most powerful question will also not give you the right answers. And I want to share with you the two major components that are responsible for persuading any prospect to give you the right answer that you are at the end of the day looking for. And the two components are tonality and verbal pauses. The tonality of how you speak and the verbal pauses that you take in between of the conversation or the questions that you are asking. These two factors, if combined together, can give you insane results. Tonality is how you speak the words, and the verbal pauses are the pauses you're taking while you're speaking those sentences, while you're speaking or asking those questions. Example, if I give you the most funniest script also, can you read it and perform it the exact same way and make the crowd laugh the way the person whose script you took? No, right? The reason is because of your tonality, how you are speaking those words, how you're speaking that script, and your verbal pauses. At what time are you taking those verbal pauses? At what time you're stopping and what time you're taking that conversation forward? That what matters, guys. So similarly, even if you have a proven script, the best sales script, and if you are not using it in the right way, it won't give you the results. And guys, you have to understand, ultimately, the trigger to your tonality is your facial expression. You cannot trigger your tonality, you cannot speak in different tones until your facial expressions are not also going with that tone. If your facial expression is flat, you cannot change your tonality. You cannot be angry with a flat facial expression. Just try it, guys, once. Just try to be angry with a flat facial expression. Can you do that? Or try to be concerned with a flat facial expression. Can you do that? No, right? Because ultimately, it's the facial expression that triggers your tonality. If you have been someone who's like, Ayush, I've been trying to use tonality, but I'm just not able to do it. It's because of your facial expression. You are not using your facial expression in the right way. For example, let's say if you have to be concerned, are you all right? Are you all right? If my facial expression is flat, I cannot be concerned. Are you all right? Are you doing all right? No, I cannot do it. Are you all right? Just change the facial expression and you will see a huge drastic impact in your tonality. And I'll be sharing with you 5 scenarios where your tonality decides whether you close the sale or whether you lose your sales. These 5 scenarios can completely change the game for you if you use them in the right way at the right time. So let's talk about the first scenario. Whenever prospect shares something emotional with you, for example, prospect gave you an emotional part of their life. If I stay in the same situation, I'll have to go back to my job. Let's say the prospect said this to you. Now, maximum people, the wrong way that they go with is going back to the job. What's the worst part about that? Like, they'll just either be smiling, oh, going back to the job, what's the worst part about that? Either ask like this, or they'll just go with like, going back to the job, what's the worst part about that? That's what maximum people do. Either they're too flat or they are speaking at high speed. All right, going back to the job, what's the worst part about that? people won't give you the answer to that as well. All right, no one will open up. So if you are responding with flat robotic tone, that kills the emotional connection. So it's very important that your tonality is in the right way. So the right way to ask a personal question where you can dig deeper is by having a concerned plus curious tonality. Because until you're not concerned, the person wouldn't want to go in depth. And until you are not curious at the same time, the person wouldn't want to go in depth as well. For example, the way you would be asking is going back to the job. Like, what's the worst part about that? So, are you seeing how the tonality is changing? Going back to the job. What's the worst part about that? Like, you have to change your tone. You have to make it softer when someone is sharing with you something personal. That's when they'll want to open up. All right. So, responding with a concern plus curious tone, this builds a connection, which is ultimately the bridge that opens up the entire conversation. That is when they'll open up with you. Let's talk about a different scenario. Let's say when you're challenging their thinking, let's say you're doing an objection handling and they have some kind of limiting belief that you want to challenge for closing the sale. Prospect said to you, I think I'll wait a bit before taking action. That's what prospect said to you. The wrong way that maximum closer would use is, why do you want to think about this? Why do you want to wait? That's how people go, like sharp questioning tone. Why do you want to think about this? That's what maximum people do. See, when you are doing or asking a question or trying to challenge a person with a sharp or questioning tone, it feels like you're attacking their logic. It feels subconsciously to them that you are not aligned to their logic. You don't believe in their logic. We don't want to make them feel that we are not aligned, we are attacking their logic. We have to make them feel that what they're saying is not something we are against. We are just helping them in the right way. The way you will be going ahead with this is responding using a challenge plus softer tone. Whenever you are trying to challenge someone, it's very important that you soften your tone and then ask the question. If you wait for next 3 to 6 months and the problem even gets worse, what happens then? That's how you do it. It should be a softer tone. It should make them feel that you are on their side. It should make them feel that you are trying to help them rather than you trying to sell them. This is what makes them feel that you are on their side, and that's what ultimately closes the sale. So whenever you try to challenge anyone inside the sales call, whenever you try to like ask any question which is breaking their limiting belief, always have a softer tone with a challenging question. That's how you ask challenging questions, not with a sharp or questioning tone. Let's go a third scenario, like the third most common scenario when prospect is giving you vague or unclear answers. All right. For example, prospect said, we have tried a few things before, but nothing really worked out. Wrong ways. When you say few things, what do you mean? Like responding just for sake of going deep. That will make them feel like a sales script. When you say few things, what do you mean? If you directly go with that, the person wouldn't open up. They wouldn't give you the right answers because they now know that you're following a sales script. The right way to go ahead with this is responding with a curious tone. This makes them feel you're actually interested in knowing what is happening. When you say few things, what do you mean by that? Right? That's how you ask the question. You need to be curious. When you say few things, what do you mean by that? That's it. They should feel that you're curious. Your facial expression should show that you're curious. That is when they will start opening up with you. So let's even go with the next scenario. Fourth scenario, that is the most common scenario in any sales call. Let's say a prospect is giving you impractical answers. Like the answer does not makes sense. All right. For example, I don't feel anything is going to be the problem from 5 years. Like if I keep going to the same problem, I don't feel there would be any problem. If the prospect says something like this, or giving you illogical answers like I'm a positive thinker, XYZ, the wrong ways. So are you okay with the where you are right now? That's the wrong way. Again, if you're asking this question, they will become defensive. If you ask this question with the wrong tonality, they will not open up. They will become defensive and they'll start asking you, why are you asking all these XYZ questions? So the right way is responding with the confused tone. This makes them to rethink the answer. Whenever someone gives you an illogical answer, if you respond in a confused tone, this will be like, did I say it right? They'll rethink and give you the answer. So the way would be like, so help me understand, name. You're okay with how things are going? That's how you are ask this question. So are you okay with how things are going? That's what will make them feel like, all right, am I really okay with this? That is how they will open up with the same asking different question, going through script by script. If person does not gives you the right answer, does not make sense. If you just use the right tonality in the right scenario, it will completely be a game changer for you. Let's take one more scenario, the fifth one. Let's say when you have to get prospect, when you have to get your prospects guard down. Prospect says to you, for example, can you give me more time to think about it? All right, now the prospect gave you an objection, and to handle that objection, you want to, of course, get the guards down so they can feel comfortable and they can feel that you're not salesy. So at that time, wrong ways, why do you need more time? That's the wrong way to ask the question. All right, this will make them again defensive rather than opening up. The right ways, not a problem at all. See, responding with a neutral tone, right? You have to make sure that they are feeling that it does not matter to you. You are not trying to sell them. And this makes them feel you have a safe space to make a decision. For example, not a problem, man. Keeping time aside for a second, how do you feel about the process specifically? So, what we are doing here, we are keeping the tonality very neutral, chill, like we don't care about the sale. What we care about, does the person feels process is right for him or her not. So guys, these are the five most common scenarios you will face in any sales calls. And these are the five different tonalities that you can use inside the sales call, and it will be complete game changer for you. So if you want me to specifically help you to boost your sales team closing rate, or if you want me to help you personally to take your closing rate to the next level, then there's a link to book a one-on-one call with me to understand how can we help you out. All right, then we'll see you in the next video.